This is Marty Wilson. It's Tuesday, May 28th, 2013. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm sitting in my office at East Strouser University talking to Phyllis Rubin, who's in Boca Raton, Florida. Is that right, Phyllis?
That is correct.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Sterling Strauser for a little while. And before we get started, Phyllis, I'm recording this, so is it okay with you if you give this interview to the university?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, let's start, Phyllis, by talking a little bit about you. Maybe you could introduce yourself, what you did for a living, what you're doing in Florida, those kinds of things.
Surely. My parents moved to Florida when I was a teenager, and I didn't leave until I went to school at Penn State. During that time, I met my future husband, and he he was drafted into the Army during the Korean bid because he had served in the Merchant Marine during World War II, and that wasn't considered a branch of the service. So, because of this, we got married. I was quite young. I was just finishing college, and we moved to San Antonio, Texas. And then after the war, after the Korean War was over, back to am I talking about the right war? Did I say Korean War?
Yeah, the Korean War. Yeah.
Yes. We moved back to Strasbourg, where I had 3 children, 3 boys, one of whom still lives in the community. He's boss Rubin, and he is the owner and president or whatever technical titles of the Budget Inn and Suites. When Boss was about 14, I decided that my other 2 boys had gone off to college. I decided I needed something to keep me busy. So I became a real estate broker, and then opened my own company, which turned out to be the largest real estate company in the Poconos. I had a good many agents. At one time, almost 200, with 11 offices throughout the Poconos. And I was in business under Phyllis Rubin Real Estate when Coldwell Banker approached me and asked me if I would affiliate with them, not have them buy me out or be a company store, but be a franchise. And I did that and continued in business for many years. Loved it. However, from when I was married and had two very young children very close together until later, when, as I said, Boss was born, I decided that I wanted to follow a passion of mine, which was painting. So Jerry and I, my husband Jerry and I, had always been fans of Sterling's. I had loved his work all the time. I lived in Strasbourg. I'm going on and on.
That's great.
At that time, there was a department store named Wyckoff's Department Store on Main Street in Strasbourg. And Mr. Wyckoff had an art show in the store every year. And Sterling always showed in that store, as did Dorothy. And I loved both of their work, and I decided that I was going to see if I could paint too. So I joined a group which was very loosely run by Sterling. We called ourselves, very original, the Wednesday Night Group. And every Wednesday night we gathered.
Where did you meet?
At first we met there was an empty store room over J.C. Penney, which was on the corner of 6th and Main Street. Big J.C. Penney store. And they gave us a large room, which we used rent-free. We always trudged up with our easels and our supplies. And we got there about 7 o'clock and painted. Usually each of us painted till we finished a painting.
You did a whole painting every night?
Well, it was just once a week. But usually we finished the painting in a night.
Wow.
And we used local people as models, some of the college students. Sometimes they came in costume. I remember girls dressing as ballet dancers or just in something exotic. We used local people. The Dreby girls used to pose for us. They were models, and whoever we found was interesting, unless we did something that was abstract or a floral. Sterling always came with flowers arranged. So sometimes it was a floral, and we would go around and talk about each other's work. And that's what I did for many, many years. I painted a lot. And we also, all of us, and I will go back and name some of the names of some of the people who we painted with.
Sure.
But we all showed, it was twice a year, an outdoor show around the courthouse square.
I remember that.
Okay. And we all showed in the outdoor show also. The group consisted of Gloria Schaefer Randolph. Her father was an attorney in town. In fact, I'm sure that her brother Gary still lives in Delaware Water Gap because he graduated from high school with me. And Nancy Hedbert, whose husband Morgan was president of the Boiler Works in East Strasburg, the National Boiler Works.
Yeah.
And there was a gentleman named Henry Evans, who was the, I believe, the treasurer. Sterling also worked at International Boiler Works, so they were very friendly. Henry painted mostly florals. There was a photographer, Jesse Weiss. And right now, those are the people I think of readily.
Right.
Anyway, we had a wonderful time together painting. Every time I had an opportunity, I'd buy one of Sterling's paintings. And Sterling was a wonderful, and Dorothy, wonderful, unbelievable people, warm, encouraging, but with an eye that you couldn't believe, because I'm sure you know that Sterling discovered many of the painters that are called outside painters now. One of them, two of them he discovered while they were showing at our outdoor show. One of them was Jack Sabisky, and the other one was McCarthy. And their paintings are all around town, too, owned by people who had the eye to appreciate them. And so that was my connection with Sterling. He was, when clubs wanted to run a fundraiser, he was always happy to donate a painting. He also would give a lecture and a painting demonstration, which was always well attended because it was fascinating to watch him paint. And
are you saying like a Rotary Club, that kind of a thing?
Yes, Rotary Club, Women's Club.
I see. And how did you meet him originally?
Originally, just from going to the Wyco show.
I see.
Because we'd all go, eventually then as I started to paint, and I would display there too, but we'd all go the opening night of the show. This was before I started to paint with him, and that's when I met him.
I see. So this Wednesday night group that you met, was he sort of a teacher kind of a thing, or?
He didn't teach because Sterling didn't feel that you could teach art. Either you were an artist, he could say, gee, did you know if you took this color blue and put it next to this, it would become more vibrant. He would say things like that, but he never taught or said, draw this in a different way, or he never imposed his feelings on how he painted on you. But if he liked something, he would just praise it and say how smashing it was and how terrific it was. And he was so encouraging that I don't remember his ever saying he didn't like anything that was done.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
He was so encouraging that I submitted, there were jury shows in Scranton all around the area, and I'm going to interrupt myself again, you know, Lehigh and Lafayette,
Sure.
Muhlenberg, all own paintings by Sterling. Did you know that he had paintings in their collection?
Yes, I did.
And you know about his connection with Philip and Muriel Berman?
No, I don't think I know that.
Well, they purchased a lot of his work.
I see.
And spread it around to colleges and universities. Philip Berman was the owner, after Mr. Hess, of the Hess department store in Allentown.
Oh, yeah.
And Muriel, they were very, very affluent people. She had been an optometrist when she was younger, but when she married Phil, she just became very involved in a lot of charity organizations. And so she was well known to the degree where at one point she served, oh, that's my cell phone. Can you hear it?
Yes, I can.
Let me see if I can turn it off.
Okay, all right.
I hope that didn't lead to long a pause.
No, that's fine.
They built a home in Allentown, on the outskirts of Allentown, that was actually built as a museum with vaults downstairs to protect the paintings, and climate controlled throughout the house. And you walked into the house, and wherever you moved, wherever you looked, there were stacks and stacks of paintings. They were fantastic collectors. And they are over the campus. Do you still have huge sculptures? Are there metal sculptures scattered over the campus?
Here and there.
Well, they were the donors.
I see.
Of those, because they like to.
You're a busy person.
I don't know. Oh, my husband got that type of thing. They were just very generous with their art. Does the name Tom Fish mean anything to you?
No, who's Tom Fish?
He was a sculptor, and Sterling was very active in getting his work spread around. He did very large metal, very heavy metal sculptures that Sterling introduced into Philip, who at one time was president of the board of the Philadelphia Museum. He was instrumental in getting Tom a show along the river's edge in Philadelphia. So that was a really close, nice connection, which, you know, benefited the art world very much. I started to say that Sterling encouraged me to such a degree that he introduced me to the powers that be at the Everhart Museum in Scranton.
Yeah.
And they invited me to have a one-woman show there. And I did. And at that time, I also submitted a painting to the annual jury show, which was also being hung there. And I had my one-woman show at the same time as I was the first prize winner in the jury show.
Oh, congratulations.
So that was all through Sterling's encouragement.
It sounds like he encouraged a lot of people. I mean, this seems like a very central part of who he was.
It was. He definitely, he encouraged so many people, and just to come and look at art, people from all over got to know him. Does the name Gray Carter?
Well, sure.
Gray,
yeah.
Yes, well, Gray, of course, you know that connection. And the Lyson Gallery in Nashville, Tennessee, they purchased by the carloads from Sterling. And he lectured several times at the Folk Art Museum in New York. Barry and I would go down and listen to him lecture, always pushing folk artists. He had a wonderful eye to recognize something that was really art and wasn't just someone who smeared paint. He used to go to the old age homes and he'd discover paintings there. Every single Sunday he and Dorothy went to the flea markets, and they made the rounds, and they pick up old frames or paintings that people had done and over time had been discarded. But if it was worth a worthy piece of art, he'd bring it home and display it. And when you went into his house, which was on Analoming Street, his latest work was always sitting on the radiator. You walked into a hallway, and to the immediate left, and it was their living room, which was a small room. It was a small house, and there was a radiator there, and his latest work would be sitting drying on that radiator.
You know, a lot of people have talked about his house. You know, they visited his house and they've seen lots of paintings there. Can you describe it?
Well, it was small. It was crowded. The room that was the dining room was his actual painting room. And he painted by just having all these tubes of paint, and he just squeezed the paint sometimes directly onto the painting. He painted on masonite. Directly onto the paint, and and he used house painting brushes to paint with.
No kidding.
And a palette knife. And those were his tools. So he'd squeeze the paint and then squeeze another color and mix it up. Sometimes on a piece of board, but many times on the painting directly, get his color. And then after he put the color on, he'd sketch what he wanted to sketch with a piece of charcoal. So all over the room on the table would be tin cans, canned goods cans, sitting with brushes in them, or turp in them, or paint thinner in them. So if you went over and you wanted to sit down, it was on a wooden chair that was paint splattered. In the living room, there was a small TV, and Dorothy had her easy chair in that room. She did hookings. Are you familiar with her work?
Yes, a little bit. I've seen some images of her hookings.
Okay. Well, she did hookings, and people would bring her silk stockings, nylon stockings, because she used that for the hookings as the yarn. Sometimes she dyed them. Sometimes it was natural colors. And then she did watercolors, which were absolutely beautiful, very delicate, very fine. Let's see.
Did they both paint in the same room, or was the dining room his room?
The dining room was sort of his room. She always sat on the chair.
I see.
As far as my memory goes, Vincent Joseph Gatto was prize fighter from Easton, a bantamweight, and he was one of the outsider artists that Sterling discovered. Sterling said that he really took a beating when he was younger, and Gatto thought he was the only painter in the world. son Sterling used to give him money all the time, or paints all the time, because he never had any money. And Sterling represented him to sell his work to the Luzon Gallery.
You described at the Wednesday night group that he would bring flowers in, and did he paint usually from an image, or did he paint from his memory, or?
Usually it was from an image. He would paint flowers, as far as I know, were always from real life.
Mm-hmm.
One of the paintings that Jerry and I still own, that was one of the first ones that we bought, was done in 1947. That was before we knew each other. We were married in 51. But we both loved this painting and bought it. And he had come home, people from all over brought him flowers. And he had come home from his flea market scavenging one afternoon, and on the porch were 2 mason jars filled with water and filled with dahlias. And he ran right in, got his paints, came out, and did a painting 3 feet by 4 feet of the 2 mason jars with the dahlias in them. They were 2 different paintings of the same subject. How he knew Dorothy Kilgallen, do you know that name?
No, I don't know that name.
She was a radio personality. I'm sure, and she and her husband had a gallery in New York. I'm sure that'll come, when you do the research.
Sure.
It'll give you more knowledge. Because at that time, I really didn't know her either. I just knew the name from Sterling. But she bought one of the paintings, and he still had the other. And Jerry and I loved it, and we bought it. And some years after that, he said that she or her husband had gotten in touch with him to buy the other one. And he came to us and he said, do you want to sell it, because you can make a few bucks. I mean, that's how generous he was, instead of trying to take it back or buy it back from us. He said, if you want to sell it, which we did not want to do and did not do. But she was sorry that she hadn't bought both of the paintings.
Was he, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just he used to display in Pocono Produce when it was in its original building on the 5th Street, where Fifth Street, let's see, we're in around 8th Street, around Thomas or Scott.
Yeah.
Do you know where I mean?
I do. There's a plumbing supply house there now, right?
Oh, okay. Well, he used to display things there. And Hans, and I can't think of his name, well-known Hollywood star, who used to come and do summer performances at the Pocono Playhouse, also collected his work. And I'm sure that when you speak to someone, they'll think of that.
Okay.
His last name, or it can come to me and I'll call you back.
All right. Okay. He sounds like he was a prolific painter. I mean, these paintings are popping up everywhere.
He painted till 2 or 3 o'clock every night, every single night, and then got up and went to work.
He must have had a lot of energy, this guy.
Yes, enormous energy. I'm sitting in my bedroom as I'm talking to you, and I am looking at, he did nudes. The nudes were small. I'm looking at one that is probably 16 by 20. But some of them were just maybe 4 or 5 inches wide by maybe 6 inches tall. And if you bought enough stuff from him, he'd give you a few of these nudes and call them green stamps. You know what green stamps are?
Yes.
Grocery stores used to give out stamps.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so it was like a freebie. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I have like 36 of these small nudes on 2 walls.
Oh, no kidding. Huh.
And then I have 3 larger ones over my bed. So you can imagine how prolific he was.
Wow.
Some of these were green stamps, the larger ones we bought.
How long would it take him on average to do? I guess it depends on the size of the painting, but I mean, would he complete one a night or?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. If he gave a demonstration, he'd finish maybe 1 or 2 paintings. As he talked, as he gave talk about his experiences or people he knew or how he was doing the painting. I'm just trying to think.
You still there? I think we've lost her. Let me try calling back here.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, this is Marty Wilson. I was disconnected. I was talking to Phyllis.
I was talking to you, and all of a sudden I realized we were just...
Yeah, you were...
I don't know what happened.
All right, well, we're back on now.
There was a group in Russia called the Blue Rider Group, and I know this painter so well, and I just went blank. But he used to come, Berluc. He and his wife were both painters, and they used to come and visit Sterling and buy things from Sterling, and Sterling used to buy Berluc's, or else they traded. So that was very interesting, too. And he used to go to the Greenwich Village Art Show, the outdoor show. It took place, I think, twice a year. He always went there, always came back with things.
I see. So can you, what was special about his painting? I mean, he sounds like a great guy, but there must be something special about his painting.
The fact that he could, his color was beautiful. He did a Cerulean blue that was extraordinary. But the flow, just that he could put paint on, I say canvas, but mostly masonite, just that he could put down the paint and start to draw in it, and all of a sudden the paint just came to life. I mean, that's the only explanation I can give.
The color and the flow.
Yeah.
Well, he sounds like I'm sorry. I guess I'm sorry I didn't get to meet this gentleman.
Yeah, I feel anyone who's when you see his work. Has the gallery opened yet?
Well, they've had a couple of shows up there. They're temporarily in the Innovation Center. They're going to be building a gallery here over the next few years. So, but they are on display, and I've seen them all, and they're quite impressive. But I'm not an artist like you are, so I don't know what really to look for.
Well, you just have to don't look. Just don't try to look. Just feel. If you get a feeling from a painting. Jim, again, my mind went blank. Has a video. Have you seen that?
Oh, I've seen it. Right. Sittig, Jim Sittig.
Sittig.
Yeah.
Has a video. Have you've interviewed Jim? I'm sure.
I have interviewed Jim. Yes.
Who else? Maybe.
Well, let's. I don't have the list in front of me. I'm going to draw a blank. A couple of people that live next to him, the Ashcrofts. Did you know the Ashcrofts?
Oh, yeah, sure. Joe Ashcroft.
Joe and Pat Ashcroft. I interviewed, and let's see who else.
One of the Ashcrofts married a woman, Lena Gedalia. I don't know if Lena, where she is, she also was a painter.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I did beautiful things. She was South American. I've forgotten if it was Peru or Colombian. She eventually moved to, I think, Phoenix, and I've lost touch completely.
Mm-hmm.
But she was, she spent some time with him too.
Well, we've been talking for a half an hour. I'm sure you have other stories to tell. Is there any questions I should have asked you, do you think?
I just found a letter the other day. I was cleaning out a drawer. This isn't, why don't you just turn off the recorder? I'll read you the letter. It's really nothing much, but just, he was always in touch with, let me read it and
Sure.
on to you. Dear Phyllis, thanks very much for the nice fat check. After we got here to this house that we built in Boca, I wanted a painting for a wall and told him what I would be interested in. He sent me some photographs, and then I chose the one I want. So that's what he's referring to.
I see.
So glad you like the news. Nice to be accepted in Boca Raton. Received a phone request from Augusta, Georgia. Referred them to Nashville. So apparently some people wanted to buy things, and he referred them to the Liaison Gallery. They were friends of Mrs. Arnold Palmer. So apparently Arnold Palmer owned some of his paintings too. Painted a street scene in the snow last night. Also painting amaryllis. He would, force the bulbs of tulips and amaryllis and other exotic flowers so that he could paint them. Expecting a visit this cold weekend from Karen, our youngest granddaughter, plans to honeymoon in the Poconos. Yesterday with reception. Something, I'm not reading his writing. Anyway, that was one note to me. But he writes, excuse the paper, in parentheses. The paper is a copy, and this is from the Folk Art Society in Richmond, Virginia. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Strauser, it gave me great pleasure to be able to present the Folk Art Society's Award of Distinction to you at our annual meeting in Louisiana, November 6, 1993. The Board of Directors voted to give the award to you as a couple because of your half-century of nurturing, promoting, and befriending folk artists, long before this became a popular pursuit. You were indeed pioneers in the field and were true friends of folk art. Many of your friends from New York were thrilled when the announcement was made. Bert Hemphill accepted the award on your behalf and made a few remarks afterwards. We'll be sending the Folk Art Messenger to you as a gift for the next year. I'm mailing the plaque under separate cover. Best wishes to you both sincerely, Ann Oppenheimer, President.
Huh. How about that? So he sent you he wrote you a letter on the back of that letter?
On the back of that letter.
No kidding.
It was dated 11/22/93. He was a great friend of the Folk Art Museum. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, great. Is there anything else that we should have talked about? Anything else that comes to mind?
If there is, I'll give you a call back.
Well, that'd be great. You have my number. Feel free anytime.
Okay.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, and to you, and thanks for including me in this.
Okay, thanks.